The problem is that if you're not paying attention in certain areas, you could accidentally step into one and boil to death. My name is Jules, and today we're talking about a quite intense topic, which is 7 ways that Iceland can kill you. And I know that sounds really morbid, but in essence, this is just a way to give information to travelers and individuals about how dangerous Iceland can be. It is obviously super beautiful. I'm out in the West Fjords, specifically in Ísafjörður, and you can see it's actually quite calm today, really nice. But Iceland can be volatile in different ways, and I'm just going to share 7 of them that can be dangerous if you are not paying attention, if you're not aware already, if you're not familiar with the country, just so that when you come here, you can enjoy your time and hopefully steer clear of any danger. For those who are planning to travel to Iceland, in addition to what I have here on YouTube, I'm creating some really awesome content, kind of like a little content hub for individuals, and I'll be announcing that via my email list. So make sure that you're subscribed to that email list that is down in the description. The link is there, just so you don't miss out on that, and updates about special announcements and other cool content coming in the very near future. But let's jump into the first out of the 7, and that one has to do with volcanoes. So obviously we're having a volcano that is erupting right now. It has been since March. It's been super exciting to have this just because obviously it is cool to be able to hike there. I've been there 3 times and I've enjoyed every time I've gone. But with a volcano comes an immense amount of danger. And yeah, there have been people who have visited, whether it's individuals visiting who live in the country already going to the volcano, or those from outside of Iceland who have been taking the chance of doing very dangerous things. And while people have gotten injured going to the volcano hiking, thankfully there haven't been any fatalities regarding individuals in lava, and hopefully it stays that way. But like, for instance, I saw a video of a guy who was standing on top of lava. Then there was underneath, there was like the hardened part on the top, and then underneath you could see the molten lava. And it was just very stupid, to be honest, and really scary. And this is just like the absolute no-no in terms of, you gotta respect nature, of course. And here in Iceland, because this volcanic eruption has been changing, meaning the amount of the flow, and it's gonna happen, at any volcanic eruption, that you have to pay attention. So safetravel.is gives really great information about the conditions that day, whether it's about the gases or the flow of the lava, the different trails that are open, whether or not rescue teams will be on hand. So just make sure to check out that website before you go. But also, it's just imperative, not only for yourself, but the rescue teams that would have to come and help you, that you keep a safe distance from the flow of the lava, and of course, anywhere where it's gushing out lava. I mean, I feel like sometimes it's so bizarre to have to say this, but it's really true. And volcanic eruptions, while beautiful and fascinating and kind of scary, they are extremely dangerous. So just keep these factors in mind because it can kill you. The second has to do with weather conditions here in Iceland. And it can be summertime or it could be wintertime, in which there are different types of storms. So in summer, you'd find more of like wind storms, which can be very dangerous to the point where your car can get like flipped off the road, windows can be broken in. As I'd mentioned, safetravel.is, that's going to be the theme, at least in terms of the website, that you should be paying close attention to in order to know if a certain road is open or if there's a weather warning. So I have that, of course, like I mentioned, as a link in the description. Always check it before you go anywhere. But in the winter in particular, there are of course storms, weather storms, when it comes to snow or ice, and the roads can be very slippery, and there have unfortunately been fatalities of people whose cars have slipped off the road, sometimes even like into water, and they ended up dying because of this. And while it isn't always possible to prevent every possible fatality, it is something that you can take precautions regarding, because Iceland in winter can be very dangerous. And there's people who have like certain kind of special tires, whether it's nails in their tires or special winter tires, in order to help them in these conditions. But just be aware that this is one area in the winter where people often get stuck in snowstorms, or it could be that, you know, you collide with another car in whiteout conditions. So just be very careful when traveling out in Iceland, especially in winter. Number 3 is dying from exposure in Iceland. So unfortunately, back I think it was in 2019 or maybe it was 2018, there was a couple that died from exposure at Sólheimasandur. So there's a plane wreck there that you might have seen in some like Instagram posts, or, you know, maybe other YouTube videos like my own. I showcased it once. And you can either take like a quad bike, you can hire a tour to go there on a quad bike, or you can walk. So if you decide to walk, you park your car and you walk about 45 minutes each way. And actually, I think there's a shuttle bus sometimes there, but in this particular case, there was no shuttle bus running at the time when they went, so they walked. And the weather changed really quickly. They were not dressed for it, and unfortunately, they froze to death. They died. And my condolences to their families. That's a horrible way, you know, to have to die. And in the case of dressing for Iceland, there are some methods that are really helpful, such as layering, and I actually created a free ultimate packing checklist for individuals. I split it up into summer and winter when it comes to Iceland, because I do realize that for many people, they're not aware of maybe what the best types of layers are, in particular the types of materials that work well. So if you like access to that, you can get that through the link in my description box. And it's not to say that just because you're wearing layers, you cannot potentially die of exposure. I mean, it can get really cold in many places, but in this case, it does protect you really well. And if you need to be rescued by a rescue team, it might be that this extra layering that you had on was just enough to keep you alive until a rescue team was able to get you, or until you were able to get back to your group or your car. So it's just something to keep in mind that's really important, is knowing how to dress for the weather here so that you can prevent that. A lot of the times when you're out on the road and you're going to popular destinations, it's not that you have to take these really long walks, but Iceland has beautiful nature, as you can see. So it is nice to be out in the nature, like explore somewhere a lot more deeper if you have the time. Going out into the highlands, of course, you will absolutely need really good clothing. And what's fascinating even out in the highlands is that you can find snow in the summertime. So, and that's a place where the weather can be extremely volatile. So knowing how to dress and preventing any type of, you know, exposure, meaning like dying from exposure, is super important. Number 4 has to do with, there's a lot of different like hot pools and hot springs in Iceland, and there are many of them in which it's not appropriate for bathing, or if you accidentally stepped in one, it can be scalding hot. And the problem is that if you're not paying attention in certain areas, you could accidentally step into one and boil to death, which is pretty horrible when you think about it. I'm not laughing because it's funny, I'm laughing because it's like such an unfortunate, horrible way to die. It's just like uncomfortable. And I'll give you an example. So at Gundakver on the Reykjanes Peninsula, and this is not, you know, to say that many people perish there, but there are potential spots, like if you're not paying attention, where you could hurt yourself and it doesn't end well for you. You know, this would be really sad, and it's something that very much is preventable, and yet it can happen, and it has happened. And so just keep in mind that these areas have marked paths for a reason, even if they don't have very high ropes, even if they don't have any ropes at all. You know, paying attention to different signs. There's usually like a warning sign in the beginning, like, you know, hot pool area, not for swimming, over like whatever amount of degrees. Just keep your eyes open. Don't go when it's too dark, like on certain winter nights or something when it's really dark out, just because it's a potential that you could misstep and lose your life. Number 5 has to do with the fact that many people are taking the chance of getting selfies on edges of cliffs or the edge of waterfalls, places like this where it is super dangerous. Yeah, it looks beautiful, but it is not worth risking your life. And unfortunately, people have died getting too close. And sometimes they weren't even trying to take a picture. They were just curious about this specific area, and they didn't realize that maybe that rock was loose, or they were just leaning a little bit too much, whatever it might be. In Iceland, in the really popular spots, there are a lot more roped off areas, but you'll still find plenty of places you can go to where it's not roped off. And in my opinion, I enjoy the fact that I can go to parts of Iceland that don't feel like it's just like, you know, roped off for mass tourism or something, because you really get to enjoy this place feeling as if it's untouched, even if there have been a decent amount of people there in the past or will be in the future. But because of different accidents and people really willing to take that risk, which again puts other people's lives at risk in Iceland, because the search and rescue teams, they work for free. They are volunteers. So they're voluntarily going out to help people at all times of the day and the evening and conditions, because they want to hopefully get you back safely if something were to have happened to you. But there have been times where we've seen different images of people who were too close to the edge, and thankfully a lot of those people have survived, but there have also been many people who fell and got seriously injured or died. So please don't be one of those people and risk your life for either a selfie or just a curious look. Try to do things from a safe distance, because Icelandic nature, like I mentioned, a gust of wind can come up and just throw you off a cliff if you're too close, or a loose rock or whatever else. Nature is beautiful, but it is also just that. It's in its natural state and it's doing its thing, and it's not really concerned about your life. So you have to be concerned, otherwise nature might take its course in that regard. Number 6 has to do with sneaker waves. And if you've been to Reynisfjara Black Sand Beach, for instance, you might have seen that there's these really intense waves that are crashing onto the shore. It's this beautiful place. I love going there. Often it can be very windy. And when you're walking from the parking lot to Reynisfjara Beach, there's actual images that show it being quite dangerous, meaning like, you know, really high waves, and don't go too close to the water. It seems though often that many people do not pay attention to this, and they don't take it serious enough. And all over the internet, for like as long as tourists have been coming to Iceland and people have smartphones or cameras to capture it, there has been footage of people getting soaking wet. Some people literally, like the waves, because they come in so fast, they like are sucking the person and just dragging them out into the water. And there have been people that have drowned. They've died, basically. And it's because you can't just fight against these waves usually and get back to shore. You'd get too tired and then end up drowning, and there's no like lifeguard or anything there. It's not a beach where you're supposed to be swimming anyway. It's not to say that there aren't any beaches in Iceland where people swim, because there are, and there's even places where you can safely learn how to surf in Iceland. But there are certain places, specifically like Reynisfjara Black Sand Beach, where you should not be getting into the water and not getting too close to the waves, mainly because you're not always best at maybe getting away in time. Like you might get close and see it's coming in and try to run away, and I've seen people get soaked just trying to run away from the waves or falling down, and like I mentioned, also getting sucked out. Especially when it comes to this, when it comes to the waves, where some people are used to going to the beach and just enjoying the nature and getting close to the water. But knowing that you don't want to do this in this case can save you a lot of heartache, can save you potential of getting soaked, even if, you know, no one ends up being dead or seriously injured. It is just a harsh reality when it comes to going somewhere else, and just understanding that not every beach is safe for you to get too close to the water, and Reynisfjara Black Sand Beach is definitely one of them. And if you're not familiar with the beach in general in Iceland, like you're not sure if people swim there or not, just always keep a safe distance. Number 7 has to do with stopping in the road to take photos. Oh yes, there's been countless influencers who have done this. There have been countless tourists who are either imitating it, or they're so spellbound by the nature that they just are literally like in their cars doing this, hardly driving, maybe veering off the road, who knows. but it is so dangerous. And it's not like I have to tell people that stopping in the middle of the road or having their eyes up in the sky because maybe they see the northern lights or a beautiful mountain or waterfall or something that just catches their eye, maybe an Arctic fox, who knows. It is dangerous to take your eyes off of the road, and this has been a continuous problem in terms of individuals not realizing that there's other cars on the road. Maybe they, at the moment when they first decided to look up, there wasn't anything there, but the driving speed is fast enough where another car could catch up or someone is behind you, whatever it is, and you could perhaps hit somebody, drive off the road, and injure or kill yourself or those in the car. So it's very scary. The solution to it is just to pull over to the side of the road at a safe place, not just anywhere, because obviously there aren't just like random stops everywhere on the road, but just kind of keep your composure about you. I totally get that Iceland is so exciting and there's so many beautiful things to see, but this poses so many dangers for other people on the road too, because you're going at higher speeds and hitting a car or a truck for that matter. A truck could just like demolish your car, but hitting another car could mean the death or serious injury of other people. And so that would weigh heavy on your conscience too. Like there's a lot. There's a lot. Just please be aware. When you come here, it is beautiful, but control the fact that it's beautiful enough that it's worth finding a safe place to pull over. You'll still be able to see that thing, or if not, maybe you just need to like drive back around and find another place to park or whatever it is. But please be safe in that way. Everyone is just trying to get to their destination, and of course want tourists to enjoy the nature and everything Iceland has to offer, but safely. And then get back home safely so you can tell your friends and family about how awesome your trip to Iceland was and all the magical things that you saw and did. So those are the 7 ways that ice can kill you that I came up with. If you think of any, definitely let me know in the comment section below. I'd love to hear what your thoughts are. If you've experienced any of these, meaning seeing people do silly things if you've been to Iceland before, let me know. I'd love to hear it, mainly because it's just so fascinating to me to hear how people are often willing to do this. I'm just like, what are you thinking? But such is life. And if you enjoyed this video, definitely make sure to give it a thumbs up and share it with someone who is maybe planning to travel to Iceland, who's been thinking about it, maybe a friend or a family who's already been but might find this quite interesting to watch. And of course, if you're enjoying these types of videos and want to see more about Icelandic nature, history, culture, and language, make sure that you're subscribed and hit that notification bell so you don't miss out on future videos. And like I mentioned in the beginning of the video, I'm working on some really awesome travel content that will be on an exclusive hub for those traveling to Iceland. So make sure that you sign up to my email list, and the link is in the description box so you are the first to know when I announce the opening of this content being available. As always, thank you for watching, and I will see you in the next one.